you brought it up, and this is the thing. Is he? Can we bridge the divide? Let's get into this. Let's reverse engineer. Why is it like in the state of New York, there are more black babies being murdered in the womb than are alive? So the words of Margaret Sanger has turned out to be prophetic. And also the abortion agenda is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So it is important that we do a better job of bridging the divide. And I can tell you the number one thing to do that is ridding hate from our lives. And this is the thing. We are at this point in juncture in our history and as America, especially as the Black culture. I'm speaking specifically to Black people. We must do better. We must rid hate, because right now we're just simply reaping what we are sowing. And we have to understand that this thing called racism it's an apparatus. At its inception, it was created for destruction and harm. So it does not matter who is wielding the weapon of racism. It's going to do nothing but cause complete, total chaos and destruction. And we can examine the fruit thereof. Look at Jim Crow. Look at slavery. All of those just atrocious, just catastrophic, just horrible things that happened in America's history was driven by hate. That was the apparatus. That was the weapon that was being wielded. And we think just because as Black Americans, as Black and brown people, that now we are holding and wielding that weapon. And again, I'm talking about racism. That we think that now that we have that apparatus, that we have that weapon, that the outcome is going to be different. And that is a lie straight from the pits of hell. Because again, just like Jim Crow and slavery, we can right now examine the fruit thereof. And it is causing nothing but divide, division, hate. It is pitting mother against daughter, son against father, sister against brother. Lifelong friends have been destroyed. So like I always do, I want to take it to the Word of God. So I'm going to be reading from the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verses 7 through 9 from the Holman Christian Standard Bible. And it reads, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life." Amen. "And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith." Amen. This part of the show is called Unscripted, which is brought to you by Be Well Property Services. They service all of your apartment community needs.
What's up? I'm excited. Listen, man, I got my main man, on Kerwin Gaines. I've been waiting for this interview. Hey, what's up? Kerwin, how you doing, my brother? Can you hear me?
That Detroit accent kicked in immediately.
Oh yeah, you already know. What's up, Kerwin, man? I want to. Before you talk, Kerwin, I want to give you some love, man. I'm gonna give you a shout out, man, right, real quick.
Can we first get his name?
I got his name. It's okay. Kerwin Gaines.
There you go. There we go.
Now let Kerwin correct me if I get it wrong. You know what I'm saying? But no, he over there in Delaware. He's over there in DETV. I got a lot of love for DETV, a lot of love for Big Ive over there. in Delaware. We spent a lot of years in Delaware. You know, we had our kids in Delaware.
Over 20 years. We did. We got married and had all of our babies.
Yeah, a lot of respect.
In Delaware.
I love the fact how DETV. I watch DETV grow. So I mean, much love for those guys over there and the work that they're doing. I mean, now the guest that we got, he hosts a show that's called The Agenda. Now they're doing big things.
The Agenda.
Yep. To talk about him a little bit, his career spans in the intelligence community, Department of Defense, in the private sector, with focus on solving high-stakes challenges in the cybersecurity and public policy. That's right, Kerwin? I got that part right?
That's right.
And then now he is the co-producer of one of the hottest shows that has some of the coolest and I would say some of the most influential people in Delaware,
so
called
doing big things.
The Agenda. So
what we call the armpit of America.
That's right. That's right.
The first state, right?
What's up, Kerwin? What's up, man? Thanks for being on, man. It's an honor and a privilege. How you doing?
It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
I appreciate it. And let me tell you this, you are history right now. I have given 4 years of interviews, and this is the first time that I've been asked as a guest.
My man. Well, that's good. Well,
now I've had a lot of impromptu conversations and been pulled into stuff, but nothing officially as a guest. So I'm honored. You got it.
Hey, man. Well, listen, you say that now, you know. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But what my thinking was that, and just to be completely transparent with our audience, you know, I wouldn't say that we are on the opposite sides of the spectrum as far as ideologies, or maybe we could be, but here's the whole point in this interview is to see if there is some common ground to be had between certain ideologies. And what I mean by certain ideologies is just watching a lot of Kerwin's, like his dialogue with his guests and a lot of his content. It shows that, it seems to me that maybe he's more on the, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe on the liberal side of things or issues. Is that am I right or wrong in that assessment?
I think liberal is a term that can be used on both sides. Right?
Okay.
You can have a liberal thinking and still be a Republican. I think your question is, how do I stand from a party affiliation? I would consider myself a very conservative Democrat.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so old school Democrat.
That's what you call an old school.
That's what we call an old school Democrat. So that's how we bridge the gap. And so because this is unscripted, I like to push back a little bit on my beautiful, handsome man here. So just based on because this was a bit of a short notice, so I was able to do a little bit of research on you, and just based on what I was able to find on you, i.e. basically your clips on your amazing show, The Agenda, right? I would say personally that we are clearly on different sides of the political spectrum.
How so?
And we'll get into that. So I definitely don't want to put the cart before the horse. So we'll definitely explore or get into why I feel the way that I feel. So
before you do that though, I also want to preface it with the concept of the show, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to blindside him, and I don't want our guests to be blindsided. But the way that you know we look at this is like, I'm going to ask you a question about, quote unquote, the Black Civil War.
Yeah.
And what I mean by the Black Civil War is the infighting amongst our community of Black conservatives and Black liberals. Earlier, before the show started out, we were joking around. I was telling you about a barbecue or barbecues that I have over at the house, and half the family is liberal, the other half may be conservative. And in order for me to get the party started, I'll come down the steps with a Trump hat on. And man, you should see how it goes, man. You can imagine, and
it's
I think
interesting. It's
and
good,
I think Kerwin said a little joke. If you don't mind me saying this, Kerwin said if he wore a Trump hat, you might have to call the police. So
law enforcement would be involved.
Law enforcement would be.
I believe you.
So my question is, and this is a question I want to ask directly. You said that you were a conservative Democrat. So why do you personally choose? And this is just straight up to vote Democrat, and why did you choose to vote Democrat? If you did, I'm assuming in the last election.
I did. I've voted in every election since I was 18. While in college, I think to answer your question of why am I a Democrat, I've had to revisit that several times over the past year and a half. But it remains the same, and I remain steadfast in that. It's because when I lay down the policies and the ideas of what I believe America should be, and not only that, but how we should treat one another and the expectations that I have in government. And if I lay all of those out, I believe that currently the Democratic Party does the best job
Interesting.
in fulfilling that. It's not something that I believe is static through time. My grandparents were staunch Republicans who drove people to the Republican polling centers that were unable to get rides. I remember that when I was a child. So it isn't necessarily because of where I come from or I have parental pressure or family pressure or anything like that. I still believe in the ways of this country. I don't believe in an oligarchy. I do believe in democracy. And when I lay all of that out on the table before me, and I have to make a decision that just doesn't represent me, but represents my children and my spouse and the other people that are in my community. And then I look at that as far as from a racial perspective, I have to say which one would better suit that. And I wouldn't say that Democrats have it nailed. I wouldn't say that everything that they're doing is perfect. But I would say that if we were using the good old-fashioned check system, there would be more checks in the Democratic side than in the Republican side. Now,
Interesting.
some people are very detailed in regards to their checks and balances. But I also believe that when you're in them streets and you understand it, and I'm talking to the leaders, especially, I have the advantage to talk to Republican leaders as well as Democratic leaders every day or every 3 times a week. And on and off the air, I'm very comfortable in my decision of being a Democrat.
Can I? I would say that the only thing that with everything that you said, which was so articulate, and I really appreciate it, but the only thing that I was able to get from that was truly refreshing, and I would say a clear departure from everything that I hear from other Democrats is I vote blue no matter who, because that's what I was taught, is because the color of my skin. You know, my mama, her mama, my daddy, his daddy voted Democrat. So that is the only reason. That's the only reason. So I appreciate the fact that, and again, and it's truly a breath of fresh air, because it's just kind of flipped upside down. For me personally, this is the first time that I've heard someone of color who's unapologetically votes blue no matter who, or votes Democrat down the ballot, say, actually, my background, my heritage comes from a group of Republicans, and I have chosen to depart from that. So I can say for me, with everything that he said, that is the only thing that I find that is a breath of fresh air.
Well, in your opinion, what needs to happen to bridge the political culture divide in America?
Well, so that's a great question. I think that it is important, and I don't know if you're going to agree or you're going to disagree. Maybe this is the first where we pop off, but I believe that we are closer, and I've said this to U.S. senators. I've said this to very senior ranking officials, is that as Democrats and Republicans, especially those who are poor. So let's start there, right? Poor Americans that are less than six figures in their household income are very similar. You put them out down on paper. When we take emotion out of it, we stop yelling at each other, and we look at this on paper, our beliefs are very, very similar. And I will tell you that I believe the belief of African Americans, especially those that are slightly above or slightly below the poverty line, are more Republican in nature than they are Democrat. And I'll tell you where. So when we look at terms of immigration, at that same barbecue that you discussed, I guarantee you that the discussion of immigration, and it's not favorable.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, bring all these people into the country. They're not saying that. They're saying they don't give a damn. They want a job. So the other part about that is, let's take gun control. I don't know about your house. My family loves guns.
That's right.
And they are liberal as you would deem them to be.
Okay.
They're still very, very gun, like, pro, right?
Yeah.
They talk about the new gun like it's the new car. And when I talk to several people in the community about that, I'm like, we are very, very, very close. I'm not saying we're the same, but we're close to one another. And I believe that there is a fraction of the Republican Party that loves for us to be separate. And if that is in fact the case, they're very successful of it. Because imagine if we were able to kind of show one another how close we are. We're not far off. When you look at the consensus, when you look at the data, we're not far off. On big issues, we're not far off.
Kerwin, if I can jump in here. So you made a statement just a few moments ago about how you think is the fashion of the Republican Party that would would love to keep us separate, but. And this is not even conjecture. I am here to tell you, just based on personal experience, just based on what we witness with our natural eyes and our ears, that is one of the biggest vessels of the entirety of the Democrat Party. And we clearly have a thing called the Uniparty. So let's just establish
I
that.
didn't hear you. We clearly have a thing called the what?
The Uniparty.
Okay.
The Uniparty. And we can even break that down where we like to call them rhinos, Republican in name only. So you are absolutely correct in that. And one of the things I love about Republicans, because we will call one another out, when you are not aligned or when we have someone amongst us that basically are wolves in sheep's clothing. So we'll call those.
But where's the line?
What do you mean? Where's the line? Elaborate. The line.
The line, right. So you're saying Republicans will call each other out, and it's something that you find comfort in as being a Republican.
Yes.
I guess you all are kind of holding each other to the fire in regards to roles and responsibilities.
Absolutely.
But it seems as though that line is constantly adjusting. It's not static across the board.
Example.
And I don't know. I take umbrage with that. I think that we don't have enough of people holding the line. And I'm not seeing that from your party, and I'm not seeing it from my party either.
Okay.
Because I think when we're looking at things like Doge.
Okay, it's not to say that we can't do better, but one of the things that I witness is that with left-leaning voters and supporters of the Democrat Party is that it truly seems, and again, this is my opinion, to be more of a hive mentality. It is one mind, one thought that goes in, like, for example, a lot of the things that you even mentioned earlier, that as Black Americans, we traditionally are conservative. We are traditionally are a big advocate of a two-parent household,
Family.
having a mother and a father.
Family.
Life. We traditionally, not until recent years, have never pushed the gay and transgender agenda ever. Obviously, that is, traditionally, we have never platformed that or advocated or promoted that. So those are the things that I feel as though
I don't think that we've advocated for it, but it's been there has always been people of growing up in the neighborhoods. There's always been someone of African American
You better believe it.
and a homosexual. There's always been someone there that I can remember that has been transgender, and it hasn't been anything other than what it is. I don't think that it's something that the Black folks need to co-sign for and say,
but
yes,
that's exactly what we're doing now as a community.
It's always been there.
Yeah, the NAA, like, come on, let's keep it real. That is exactly, in order, if you are a person, and again, and we are talking about people of color, but whether you are Asian, Hispanic, or what have you, anything in between, if you claim and if you adhere to the left-leaning ideology, i.e. the Democrat Party, you cannot now, this was not always the case, but you cannot say now that you are a left-leaning Democrat and not say that you are not for abortion, you're not for the gay agenda. You cannot say that you will be ostracized.
Yes, you can. I think.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah, you can, but I'm just saying that if you do, sir, there will absolutely be pushback. You can see it now. You see the liberal, the more progressive wing of the party taking over. You see people like the senator out of West Virginia, or some of the more moderate Democrats who have been pushed out, or who are being ridiculed because they are saying, hey, I don't necessarily think that it's a fair playing field when we have men, biological men, playing in women's sports. That's just one thing. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So, but absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
So point? I see. So I want to be honest with you. I've been to Vegas a couple times, in Atlantic City. I've taken part. And one thing about the crap table is they have something called the pass line. And the pass line is what's described to me is called the sucker bet, right? Because you never make enough money off of it. And it's almost a waste of money to bet on, but it keeps you at the table. It just keeps you there. And I feel that these issues that we're talking about transgender, and we're talking about boys in the locker room, which is, I agree, absolutely ridiculous. From a daughter of a high school student.
Love to hear that.
If there's a boy in the locker room, I'm going to have trouble with that boy.
That's right.
But at the same time, I think, ladies and gentlemen, Rome is burning. This morning, and I sent over to you, I had the pleasure of interviewing Congressperson Sarah McBride, and we all know about her current history in being a transgender member of Congress, and I spoke to her less than an hour ago.
You mean the biological man born as Tim McBride?
We had a very great conversation in regards to
That'd be yes. That'd be a yes, right?
I honestly don't know what her name was at the time of birth.
It was Tim McBride, and it is a biological woman. She was a Delaware senator that is now part of Congress.
I appreciate your insight on their sexuality. But I do know that the issues are huge right now for our country. I do know that tariffs aren't going well. I know that we have a very poor standing right now in regards to our allies. I know that the head of the National Security Agency was released because the current president felt that he was not loyal, not because of anything that he did, not because of anything that he said, and he is in fact a Republican, was released from his job. How does that affect our standing and with other countries in regards to our national security. As of yesterday, and this isn't anything that I'm making up, Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped over 900 points because our president,
Donald J. Trump, let's go.
Federal Reserve Chairman.
Yeah. So
How does, to my point,
okay,
major issues that are affecting you and me and the safety for our country and the safety for our family and your lovely children, who gives a damn about what Sarah does in her personal time and what she is about and what she wears? I don't care.
Well, you are an anomaly, my friend. Sir, you are an anomaly because your entire party's platform is all about sexual identity, is all about skin.
Because I am part of my party's platform.
Well, I just said you are an anomaly because, listen.
And I can give you 10 Democrats that feel the same exact way.
Well, let me hear them.
But those 10 Democrats
are not leading the charge.
With all due respect, Kerwin, those 10 Democrats don't have the microphone.
Exactly.
So I won't speak on their behalf, but I will speak on and say that it's noise like this, it's rhetoric like this, especially coming from folks who are trying, such as I am, to do better in this country. That noise where we're worried about the little stuff, the sucker bets.
So do you think
how is it little noise when you guys
are not allowing us to move forward? And it's going to continue.
That is what you push.
Do you think it's one second?
The Trump agenda from going any further? Because it's not only breaking us apart as a country, but it's breaking us apart from a racial perspective.
So do you think it's a small...
And if you want to talk about this from a racial perspective, we can break this down into sociological and as far as economical perspective
but
as well.
We're not.
The whole agenda is falling apart in front of you. And if you want to sit here and talk about what someone's sexuality is, you can explain that when we fall deeper into a greater recession than what we had in 2008 and the market falls further and further down and down.
Listen, sir, right now, before the highest court of this land, do you understand what's happening right now, what they're debating, right? So again, it is because of and again, when I say Democrat, I'm talking about the upper echelon. I'm talking about the leadership of this. So it is you, not you, your party. So my apologies on that. So it is your party, the Democrat Party, that is bringing sexual identity to our pre-K, to our elementary. So this is the reason why we're talking about this. So this is not like
there is some value.
But does the sexual identity start from does the sexual identity start? And I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Does it start from what the students are being allowed to hear, or does it start at home? So the sexual identity,
exactly, it starts at home.
If they have a question about their identity, then it starts
the latter.
With me.
It's none of your business. It's not the school. It's the business of the parents to guide that ship. I homeschool my kids. So give me a second, sir. We send our children to school to learn reading, arithmetic, home civic, geography, not sex, not John and Tommy, how they chasing down mythical dragons and then falling in love. So these are the things that is being perpetuated, and the parents are not being even given the option to opt out. So your analysis, sir, about your crap table, it falls on deaf ears because this is the platform. This is what you guys are pushing. Therefore, right now in the high courts, that is being played out right now as we speak.
And Kerwin, I want to push back a little bit because I think it does matter, the sexual identity and transgender movement. I think it does matter on a spiritual level. I think one second. Just let me say this part. I think that it's just woven into our society that the closer that we are to God and the things that lines up with the Word of God And anytime we push the opposite of what is closer to God, I think it matters. And I think it does matter that if I see a person that happens to be a man and then they become a woman, I can still call that person a man. I think that matters. And I think it matters what it does to society.
If we're doing that, and I can appreciate what you're saying, but if we're doing that, and we're talking about this on a spiritual stance, we are then giving a degree to sin. Because I know for a fact that there are Republican senators, there are Republican Congress people who have done horrible things in regards to sexuality, have done horrible things. We were getting ready to bring someone in as the Attorney General, Matt Gaetz, who was just had to be this Trump supporter and the whole 9 yards. And he was having sex with minors.
He didn't come in, did he?
Married environment.
Those have never been substantiated, and those are allegations. No, they have not, sir. And then, you brought it up, and this is the thing: is he the Attorney General? Did he get confirmed? Okay, listen.
There are other members of Congress right now that are homosexuals.
Did he get confirmed? Is he Attorney General?
I got news for you. You are wrong.
Okay, well, listen. Okay, but that's fine. But listen. Okay, listen.
Put a mirror up to one another and make sure that our sin doesn't outweigh their sin.
Okay.
Because they're beginning to think about our sin is better than their sin, and this
no, sir.
Never said that.
You know, don't listen.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
That is not what I said. Okay, well, I appreciate that. If that's to you what it sounded like, that has absolutely nothing to do with the facts.
Well, I would be very careful because then it seems as though you're judging.
Listen, we are judging. We're judging the fruit thereof.
The fruit thereof.
So so we are. So we don't want any mistake about that. We are judging. Let me say that again. We are judging. So, because we know the word, so that's something that you cannot. And what I want to say,
understand the word, but
listen.
But who are you?
We're going to move on.
I'm
a child of God. I'm a child of God. I just said I'm judging the fruit thereof.
That's right.
I'm judging
we can judge
the
people
fruit.
Not to make those mistakes.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree?
And so you're right. Wrong is wrong. That's the thing.
On both sides.
On both sides. Evil is evil.
And good.
Let me just finish this thought. Let me.
From this.
That's what I had mentioned that earlier. We called those things out. Listen, sir. Okay, well, give me the chance, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so those claims against Matt Gaetz have not been substantiated, and that is facts. Now, if it does come out in the distant or near future, then
so your president didn't have sex with a porn star?
Okay, so listen, if that comes out don't get caught up. If that comes out, if that comes out in the near future, that Matt Gaetz,
and he was married at the time, by the way.
If Matt Gaetz have indeed been had in court and have been proven guilty, then guess what? I'm like, he's a low down dirty dog, and he deserves everything that comes his way.
Here's a question for you.
And President Trump did not have sexual intercourse.
Here's a question for you.
What about the diary of Biden's daughter about their illicit alleged? I know that's what I'm saying. So you don't want to play that game. We can go tat for tat.
So let me ask you a question.
Let's just stay on task.
Let's stay on task here.
I was trying to answer you.
Sexual intercourse.
I think what we're trying to say is, I think what we're saying is on both sides.
Okay, let's reel it in.
On both sides of the aisle. Let's just say individual. We're all flawed.
Let's reel it in.
We
are.
No, we're not saying. We're not
going to talk about the leader of the free world having sex with a porn star while married.
We're not saying that we're not saying that. But I got a question. I got a question for you.
My bad.
What is your stance? What is your stance on abortion?
I thought we were talking about Stormy Daniels.
Now we're talking about abortion. You broke up Stormy
not
Davis.
You were talking about Stormy Daniels.
Right.
You were. Just like you didn't. Yeah, and I respect a Democrat that's talking about his daughter taking these illicit showers, prolonged showers, that was allegedly written down in a diary by his own daughter.
What is your stance on abortion?
So let's not go there. Or maybe we can.
I don't think anybody can go to the hygiene of the president's daughter, and I will not go with hygiene.
We're not talking about hygiene. We're talking about inappropriate.
What's your stance on abortion, Kerwin?
So,
you got to learn how to pivot better than that.
the stance is clear. Roe versus Wade was pulled back.
Okay.
I think that it's up to the states now.
Okay.
I think that the states have a responsibility to leverage the thoughts of their constituents and determine where it stands. Right now, abortion is legal in the state of Delaware.
Okay.
It's not legal in all 50 states. But there are issues with that as well. So I'm very curious. I don't even think it's curiosity. I think I understand exactly where you all fall in regards to that.
That's what's up.
Your faith. And when it comes to me and my family, I am definitely pro-life. But when it comes to others, I don't think that that's up to me. I can't control them. I can't, as much as I would like to. I tell you what, if I could control people, this conversation would go a lot better. And
how would it go?
So I have to leave them up to their own devices, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be very careful in regards to how I judge people over a legal act.
So you think it's okay for a woman to choose to abort her baby and a man should have nothing to say about it?
I think a man has everything to say about it.
Okay.
I never said anything about that. No,
Okay.
I think a man has everything to say about it. I think it's a two-part discussion
Okay.
that couple needs to make. But at the same time, I don't feel that a woman that has been subject to incest, that has been raped, should have to carry a child to term. If she chooses not to, I'm not against that.
Okay.
If there is several instances that I can tell you, even here in the state of Delaware, which I won't get into too much due to legal matters, but there are people that are having just horrible pregnancies where not only their life, but the child's life is in risk, and it's bad. And I feel as though if that's the case, then medically we need to make a decision. If that decision is to end the pregnancy, it has to be. It's nothing that I'm just cheering about. It's nothing that I'm just excited about, and the whole 9 yards. That's not the case at all. But
Okay.
a decision needs to be made.
Okay.
But I am responsible, and I say this again. I am responsible for my family. I am responsible for the decisions that come out of my home, and I am responsible for all the members that are within my home until they are no longer in my home.
Amen.
I can appreciate that.
So, we are truly our brother's keeper, and you can lead the horse to the pasture, but you cannot make him drink. Okay. And so with that being said, ultimately the choice and the decision, whether a mother and a father chooses life, it is going to be ultimately their decision. But if you have a platform, an amazing platform, the agenda, which you have, and if you have amassed a great following, I would say at the very least, if you are equipped with the facts and with the truth about what abortion is and how the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, said, we do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And her number one agenda was to eradicate the entire Black race was through abortion. Are you aware of that? Yes or no?
This is the first that I'm hearing it, but
that
I can
is intriguing.
This.
That is intriguing. But I do want to also give me a second. So that's a no. Also, you had mentioned a few moments ago that about the rape and the incest, and I just want to give you some hard facts. Now, the number that they say, and this is being kind, is 1%. But it's realistically less than 1% of women who get abortion because of rape and incest. So a number that is so infinitesimal that is being pushed pushed is a farce in and of itself. And also, I do want to just mention that there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of amazing children that are out here that are living and thriving and have created an amazing imprint on the world. And they are the product of rape and incest. You understand what I'm saying? And also, you have to understand, as a woman, when you have trauma, when you have something that is so unimaginable, horrific that happens to a woman, like rape or incest, that trauma, that description defies human words, literally. And I can speak personally to that. So when you rip a life from the inside of you, sir, you're doing nothing but putting trauma on top of trauma. That is data to back this up. There is multiple testimonies out here that can attest to that. So I just wanted to educate you on that the Planned Parenthood founder, the MO, the modus operandi to exterminate the Black population was via abortion and the abortion pill.
I thought the formula to, I guess, exterminate the Black population was police.
Oh, God.
I didn't think it was
You are
abortion.
sadly mistaken, and you are so radically wrong, and you are ignorant and foolish to even say that. There has been more Black babies that has been exterminated than cancer, diabetes, heart disease, homicide. Give me a second, sir. Homicide, suicide, everything combined cannot.
I don't know.
Listen, sir. Okay, just so you know, when you go back, if you do the research, and I just hope you can be a man of your word and of integrity and say, you know what, I got this wrong, because I'm telling you that you are wrong. Your data is flat out wrong on its face.
Which data point are you contesting?
But this is the thing.
Which data point are you contesting?
What I'm contesting is police, a Black man being killed by police is literally not a drop in the bucket. I'm being quite literal. It's not a drop in the bucket.
I was using candor and jest. I don't think.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for the correction. But I will send you some hardcore research.
Do you think abortion has played a role in Black America remaining a minority population in the United States?
No, I don't think that our number has. So I will agree with you, is that our 13 or 12%, depending on which population matrix you are using, right, says where we are currently, and that has not moved. I believe that anytime you're taking away a life, you're taking away a number.
Okay.
Right? So there's no contesting. That's just basic mathematics. But at the same time, what are some other things that I believe have done more to slow that down?
Okay.
And whether or not you believe, and you truly believe, I do believe, but one of the biggest things that I believe that is slowing that down is poverty.
Okay.
I believe that poverty is slowing that number down. If we had more people out here working and creating homes and lifestyles, I would think that people would have more children. I think that if we could afford children, I know several people that are college graduates, that are young college graduates, that are in their childbearing years, that are just not doing it. And somehow or another, and you may have seen this in your own endeavors and conversations with folks, maybe in your church groups or whatever, it's just not as popular anymore to have the 2.5 children in white picket fence and live that lifestyle, and one that I grew up in and tried to achieve. Just isn't popular with our young
because it's
folks.
the war on families that the Democrats are waging against the family, because against the nuclear family.
I wouldn't even say that that's partisan, because these children nowadays, I don't want to call them children, but these young adults don't affiliate themselves. If you want to put a 20-year-old next to me and say that you're a Democrat and she is a Democrat, I guarantee you our ideas of what a Democrat Party is going to be completely different.
Do you think culture and the culture?
Absolutely.
Do you think culture has a lot to do with it? And then, if that's the case, who controls the culture?
I wish I did.
Right.
But I don't think that it's. I don't think that it's anything that you or I have as much control over it as we would think. And let me explain that for a second. I believe that generation that we're talking about, that culture that we're talking about, self-regulates greatly.
Okay.
They are stronger. Gen Z
Okay.
is stronger than anything that Gen X
Okay.
predecessors definitely control.
Do you think the media has a major influence, the music, the school, the educational system? Do you think?
No.
Okay.
No, and I definitely not say the educational system, because
Okay.
here in Delaware we're 45th in the nation, so the kids aren't going to school.
Okay.
So it isn't the educational system that has a lot of influence in regards to that. But I will say yes to, I believe that it is the music. I do believe that it is this constant scrolling that goes on and on and on and on and on through social media platforms, and conversations that people are having, because they are listening to maybe 10 seconds at best of what we talked about out of this entire time that we're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
And from that 10% or 10-second clip, they're trying to understand the passion that your wife has demonstrated in regards to her beliefs, and the understanding and ideas that my belief has, and you can't get that in 10 seconds.
I just want to push back on that, because you're right. Because for the, when you're talking to a certain demographic, for them, obviously it's not Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal, but the puppet masters, sir, behind the curtain, is Hollywood, is the culture. It is, we all know that Hollywood is extremely left leaning. We know that the Democrat Party is like one and the same when it comes to Hollywood.
Is there a Hollywood anymore?
Okay.
So, and I completely agree with you to some extent. And in prior generations, that was the case, right? We were moved by the movies. We were moved by the information in our shows that we put out. But how many people that right now have a cable box in their home?
Yeah, no, we're talking about the screens. We know the new screens now is what's being held in your hand, right. But it's still essentially the proverbial screen.
That's not Hollywood.
Yeah. When I say Hollywood, I'm talking about because Hollywood now is the influencers, and they for the most part are left leaning, and we do know that the Democrats or the progressive has had a strong,
powerful influencer.
You just lost him. I mean, but yeah, you just lost him. You guys lost him. He was once extremely progressive. He was a Bernie bro. And you guys, because of your radical, insane policies and ideology, you lost him.
You're saying that influencers are left leaning. The Republicans won the election.
That's correct.
Despite
there has been a turn of the turning of the tides.
They utilized the influencing platforms.
Yes, they
did a hell of a lot better job than the Democrats.
We learned. We pivoted.
And they were victorious.
We got crafty.
No, let's be realistic.
Something that I give a lot of credit to the Democrats. You guys are very crafty.
Well, no, let's be realistic. When Kamala Harris came out, she invited
Beyonce.
These are large, influential people in the culture, right?
Meg Thee Stallion.
What did she do did she twerk on stage?
Yeah.
And then when President Trump was inaugurated on the stage, he had Elon Musk.
That's correct.
He had Bill Gates.
That's correct.
He had
that's correct.
the gentleman from Amazon.
But that's not Hollywood. We're talking about entertainment. But you're right.
These are the people who control the influence.
We're talking about the people who understand. We're talking about the influence. We're talking about the influence to the culture. Influence to the culture.
These are the gods of influence.
We're okay.
And they are on the stage with the president of the United States. Elon Musk.
Sir, you're okay. How about this?
So how is he not an influencer?
Give me a second. How about you're correct. Okay, listen, I'm gonna set the precedence. You're right. You're absolutely right. That is not.
That's the first
you're
time
welcome. Exactly. I would. You listen. Hey. But listen. Let me tell you. You better count your lucky stars, because that may be a diamond in the rough. What just happened there, my friend? So I'm just keeping it real.
I appreciate that.
Yes. No worries. But
I'm gonna let you make your point before I have to jump off and yell at somebody else.
How about this? The point that we were arguing was about about the attack on the family, and that is the influence. We had the BLM platform where it specifically said we and I'm paraphrasing here, that we want to destroy the nuclear family, and then we have
Black Lives Matter destroyed the nuclear family.
That was on their website.
Yes.
So
yes.
the three lesbian women that started.
That was one of their tenets. Before they took it down.
Hold on one second, Kerwin. On their website, they had listed the 3 lesbian women that started it. They had it on their website that we want to destroy the nuclear family. We want to change these things. I mean, it was right on their website. It's not something we're making up. And then if you dive in deeper, the 501c that was connected, it didn't even go to any black people. I mean, it just went to the 3 people and who, what's the individual name that the Soros that funded most of it. So it's a deeper journey. But before we go there,
I look forward to having these conversations with you guys again. I'm just saying. Next, I do. All jokes aside, I do have another interview that I have.
You're not going to leave us, are you? We just getting started. I got something good for you. You can't.
I mean, I really, really have to
because we don't want to play your video without you being
paying.
We don't. You want me to send you a check? We don't want to play.
Yeah, yes, I do.
I'll send you one.
Yes, I do.
I'll send you one.
You can Zelle.
I'll send you. If it's a matter of paying you, there's no problem, man.
I'll even take an old check.
Don't worry about it.
It doesn't even have to be a new check.
If it's a matter of paying you, we got it. We got it. So I'm gonna say this real quick because I don't want to play this video without at least you having an opportunity to defend it. Can you give us 5 more minutes?
Just 5 minutes.
Hold on, let me check with my producers. Hold on. Do I have 5 minutes?
Give them 5 minutes over there. Come on, let me call Big Eye.
You know who my producers are.
I do know. I know they're locked in.
Dirty looks. They're giving me dirty looks.
Give him 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes. He's gonna be okay. We don't want to play the video without him defending himself.
Defending myself?
We're going to play the video. We're going to play the video. So we don't want. We want
defending myself or defending my party.
Well, you said it on this video, so
you pick. You choose. You choose. Whichever one.
So run the video, Isaiah. No audio. All right. Well, we're good. No, can't run it.
No.
Ah, you're good. Stop it. Get him back.
All right.
No audio.
Okay, so
tell him what he said.
Audio or video? I can't. I just see you all.
Okay. You know what, Isaiah? Is it okay that I can play it and put it up to the mic? Okay. So give me a second.
Just give him his audio.
Yeah.
Ask me about this transgender issue down in D.C. and how our representation and our nation's leadership is feeling and what they're threatening to do and things about bathrooms and all that crap. I got news for you. This is the world now, and we have to adjust. And those people, the people that are transgender, deserve as much right and should expect as much right as any American, because that's what it really comes down to on whether or not you're an American. In Delaware, we have a leader.
We should do it in T-shirts.
That is leading this movement.
I think I have in screen prints.
And we understood, and she understood, that it wasn't going to be easy, and it won't be. But we will not tolerate our leader being disrespected. I know that I won't tolerate that. I won't tolerate her being threatened. I won't tolerate any disrespect that's coming her way or anything like that.
Okay. So, and I do want to say this, Kerwin, that I absolutely 100% unequivocally, this man that is in women's clothing, he is alive. He has family. He is the son of a mother and a father. I'm sure he's a brother. He has sisters and brothers. He has loved ones. He has family and friends, and he is a breathing human soul. So he is due the right and the respect and the protection of any
congressperson in this Congress.
Exactly. But even above being a congressperson, he is a living, breathing breathing soul. And so no one has the right or deserves to have any type of ill
Definitely
will,
no
whether
one on
it's
this
physical or any other thing. So it's important that we don't conflate the two. So because you guys, no, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you.
That she is going to pass and get our country back on track in this crazy time in which we're living. I'd like to thank all of you all from Sophisticated Logic for this time today.
Yeah,
Again,
my
I
man.
press
My
forward,
man.
and I look forward to speaking to you all.
Yes, sir,
again.
Kerwin. Yes, sir. We got to get you back on, Kerwin.
He ain't coming
Yeah,
back.
absolutely.
He
I look
ain't
forward
coming
to
back.
another conversation.
I don't believe him.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, I appreciate you going through the fire, man.
He's
Appreciate
running.
you.
No problem, man.
He's
I will come back on. You got my word.
I need you back. I need you back.
No problem with this conversation.
Much love,
It was
man.
cool and fun.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
I
Appreciate
don't
it.
believe you.
Feels great. I appreciate him, man. You know, he's give him respect. You know, he stood on his principles. He stood on what he believed.
Yeah.
And you know, you truly got to show him some respect for that. Although we stand on two sides of the aisle,
Yeah.
we may not agree on everything.
Yeah.
But that is that is his platform. He has to protect it.
Yeah.
You know, but to question to that, you were saying that regardless of somebody is the fact that she's still human. You're not saying
He's
these
human.
things.
Yeah.
He's human. It's just the fact that you don't want me. I shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't dictate what I say and what I call somebody.
Yeah.
If they're a biological man, then they're a biological man.
And what they'll do is they'll call and again, because I don't know if that's exactly, but it sounds to me, and I will say this is just truly my opinion, but they all do this. If you don't agree with something, if you don't align, they'll actually say your words are violence. Your words, or they'll liken.
Well, you know, the reason why Kerwin got that way, and I don't want to speak for him, but he just had that individual on his show, and we have a clip that he sent me. He had I could play it that morning, just this morning, when his interview. So they may still be in the studio.
Oh, that would explain. That would explain, but you can't put before me someone that is clearly a man, and it's no amount of lipstick. I don't care how hot pink the headband is. I don't care how well the bronzer or how finely polished the nails are. You cannot dress up a pig. You cannot. A man is a man is a man, and that is not mean. That's reality.
Do you think that we had that show, but do you think that there was no fences mended? You know, I think that it's a clear divide.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think what is similar in that we can try to get something out of it is that I think everybody wants the same thing.
Yeah.
But how we get there is the issue. The problem is the devil is really crafty.
Yeah.
And you might not think that, you know, these things like transgender representations is a big deal.
Yeah.
And abortion is just left up to the family.
Yeah.
But if you go deeper into it, you realize that the spiritual ramifications of these things has a larger impact on society.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sophisticated Logic. You know, we bring you on.
I quite enjoyed that. I'm disappointed to see.
Kerwin kind of got off real quick. We wanted to kind of address that.
Issue with men not being able to hold like why get so upset? Why allow your emotions to take priority and get out in front of you?
I don't know why he left the show, but that's okay. That's all right. I almost expected it. He lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. But that's all good.
But if he did his research, his due diligence, he should have known.
Yeah.
And
big ups, respect. I told him, which I kept telling him, I wanted him to be able to defend his own words, but he left the show. So he just left us with his words. And
I'm disappointed.
Yeah. But anyway, respect the
I'm disappointed.
Check them out on DETV. Check out DETV in Delaware. Big ups to DETV. So, is that all you got? Or you want to make somebody else lead the show? You know what? I'm leaving the show.
If you want to see more of this content, like, subscribe. And even if you don't like this content, at least comment and share.